beautiful friends. It's Amanda here, and it's time for my October ranking. This is a series on my channel where I go back through all of the new products that I reviewed in a month and I rank them against each other. I really like doing this ranking video in tandem with the reviews because at the end of the month, you get to hear a little wrap up about how these things worked paired with other products in my collection. If I have changed my mind, do I love them more? Do I love them less? And it's just fun to go back through the month of reviews and see all the awesome new makeup that we got to try out. In the month of October, I reviewed 3 new Colourpop collections, and they're all collaboration type collections. So we have the Stranger Things collection. This is their sort of spooky season release. After that, we got the Bratz collection. And most recently, we have Frosty the Snowman. We haven't seen this many big collection releases in a month from Colourpop in quite a while. So I think I'm going to break from my usual method, which is ranking everything in the order that I reviewed it that month. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about these 3 Colourpop collections first. I have a lot of mixed feelings about these 3 collections. Of the 3 collaborators, the Stranger Things show, Bratz Dolls, and Frosty the Snowman, I only have one personal fandom slash nostalgia type of connection with any of these. I haven't watched the Stranger Things show. Of course, I'm aware of it just as somebody who's online a lot. I've heard plenty about it, but it's just not really my type of show. And I think, a little bit too old for Bratz by the time they came out. Now, that's not to say that people my age or older can't be part of the Bratz fandom. I think that's great. Cling to anything in this world that can give you some joy. And if that is dolls, then you know what? I'm not here to judge you. But I don't really personally have an emotional or nostalgic connection to the Bratz franchise. However, I did grow up watching the original Frosty the Snowman cartoon, and this is just something that I actually have some sort of personal connection with. So I think that's important when it comes to these collaborations to acknowledge the things that you feel connected to or don't. Certainly, some of the nuance of these collections in particular could be lost on me because I don't have that sort of personal tie to the collaborators. But that's not the entirety of what I base my ranking on for sure. It's definitely about the formulas, the performance, the colors as well. When it comes down to those types of things, it gets a little bit more complicated because, for example, in the Bratz collection, this is my favorite of the 3 palettes. And I also like the lip products in here because I'm a fan of lippy sticks, but I don't really use any of the other extra supporting cast of products in this collection. So I would say the Bratz palette is my favorite, and I also will give them some definite points for having lippy sticks, which I love. My second favorite color story is the Stranger Things palette. I particularly like the bottom 2 rows quite a bit, and if I was going to grab one of these to throw in a makeup bag and travel for a weekend, I think I'd be most likely to grab this one because I can see a lot of different color combinations and a lot of different looks that I would enjoy. And I also like that this was very low on the glitter shades, especially compared to the Frosty the Snowman palette. I also really like the waffle lip mask here, but I'm not super crazy about the lip and cheek products. These little multi-chrome shadows are cute too. And then the Frosty palette is my least favorite of these 3, but all of the extra products are really above and beyond the extras in these other 2 collections. I'm not a huge fan of the So Juicy gloss balms, but I love the Luxe lipsticks. I love the Jelly Mush shadows. I love Super Shock highlighters. I really like this lip mask. And this little sponge is so, so cute. It's one of my favorite extras that they've offered so far this year. Like I said, I have a lot of mixed feelings about all of these. So when I'm ranking these collections, I would say big picture, I would put the Frosty the Snowman collection in the first place. But because I don't love the palette, I think on my overall rating scale, it's somewhere more in this zone. A lot of these products could be top tier type of products, but the palette being my least favorite sort of drags the collection as a whole down from that spot. I think just below that, I would put the Bratz collection because I do really quite enjoy about half of the collection. And lastly, just below the Bratz collection, I would put this Stranger Things. I do quite like this palette. The liquid shadows, the little waffle mask is just really cute, really funny. But I super don't like these glittery glosses, the pH color changing blush, and the packaging as a whole is great for the show. It fits the show. It just doesn't fit my personal taste. And in my review, I kind of complained a little bit about not liking the scary monsters on things. Obviously, that's just a personal preference. I'm glad that there is scary monster makeup for people who want that because I think that is perfectly valid. It's just not for me. This is how I'm going to start my ranking with these Colourpop collections, just taking all of my different facets into consideration. Next, we're going to talk about a couple of indie palettes. First is this Chicago Speakeasy palette from Nomad. I'm a big fan of Nomad formulas and packaging and color stories. Just the way that they truly tell a story with their palettes appeals to me, and it really gives me a sense of excitement, which is really saying something considering the number of palettes alone that I review. For their collections as a whole, this one is kind of in the middle for me. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. I wouldn't quite put it in the top tier, but I do prefer this over the Frosty the Snowman collection. So I think I'm going to bump this up. We're still hovering a little bit over that I am in like with you territory, but this performs really well for me. I feel interested and excited for the stories that I get from these palettes. I love a half colorful, half neutral. I love some green and purple. I really like the Art Deco styling on the packaging. Overall, it works quite well for me, but there is one palette release, also an indie palette release, that really captured my heart beyond the Speakeasy palette, and you probably already know what I'm going to say. It's the Harvest of Souls palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. This one is so cool. Again, I'm getting some purple and green, but this color palette is really leaning away from a neutral base and going more towards a murky slash blue kind of base for these purples and greens. I just think this artwork is stunning. As usual for Fantasy Cosmetica, the formulas are rich, beautiful pigmentation, amazing wear. I just absolutely love this palette. It was released with some hand-poured woodwick candles, which I love. So definitely my number one most favorite product of October is this Harvest of Souls palette. Let's talk holiday sets now. I reviewed two different holiday releases. First, these products from the Tarte holiday collection, and then I also tried a few things from the NARS holiday collection. If you watched those reviews, then you already know that the Tarte products worked a lot better for me than the NARS ones did. I like the direction of this NARS holiday collection. I feel like I see the vision, it just wasn't quite up to snuff for me. I tried out the cheek palette and the little single eyeshadow, and both were okay, but I just don't feel like they lived up to my expectation for NARS quality and performance, and I definitely don't think they lived up to their price point. Not the worst makeup that I've tried all year by far, but just meh. That's all I can really say. As far as these Tarte holiday sets go, I did purchase the cheek set and this mini palette set. Everything worked beautifully for me. I've gone back and worn these things several times since I reviewed them originally, and I've gone back to the cheeks more so than the eyeshadows. I have zero complaints for the performance of these eyeshadows. I'm just not as excited by these color combinations as I am by these beautiful cheek colors. So the cheek set is going to be my only other fully top tier product along with the Harvest of Souls palette. And I'm going to put these eyeshadows very solidly in the I am in like with you category. I think if a couple of the shades had been switched up to give me a little bit more inspiring color story, I could easily see these based on the beautiful packaging and the super high quality formulas. I could easily see these working their way up, just not quite there for me. The very last product that I'm going to talk about in today's ranking is from Catrice. This is the Care and Colors lip balm. I do find myself wishing for some different colors, but in general, I think that these perform really nicely. One of these immediately moved into my purse after I filmed the lip swatch video, and I've continued to enjoy using this. I see these as a very staple type of product. I can easily see myself using up pretty much all of the colors that I have and enjoying that process. But if I had to choose my top all time must have lip products, I don't think that this would be considered for that list. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep this in the I am in like with you category, but I still do recommend these and enjoy them. So, wow, I mean, I think the board's looking a little thin up here, isn't it? This definitely wasn't a super review heavy month for me. I did do a palette remix, a lipstick declutter, 10 under 10 get ready with me, and a palette bingo. So a lot of my allotted videos for the month were not dedicated reviews, and I think that's why the board's looking a little bit thin. But if you're curious about any of these products or collections that I talked about in today's ranking video, I will link all of my dedicated videos down in the description box so you can hear more about my thoughts and experiences and the performance of these individual products. I swatched everything. I have a bunch of tutorials, so make sure you check the description box for more info about these. I would love to hear what you tried this month. What were your favorite or least favorite things? I'm happy to report I have no least best products this month. That means that I had a lot of great releases, and I would love to hear what you think about all of these things too. So make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Love your face. Bye.